All right, we're live. I wanted to adjust the camera a little bit so that you can see the craft that I'm doing while I'm live today. So say hello in the comments and let me know where you're joining from. Say hi. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So I'm going to do a little fall pumpkin craft this morning, which is just taking some old pumpkins and repurposing them. It's like weird to me that the camera is angled lower, but whatever. You'll be able to see what I'm doing with this. And then I'll turn this into a reel later. And then I also wanted to talk to you all about part 2 of what we were talking about last Tuesday, which was the witch's wound, the concept of the witch's wound as sort of a psychological energy block in the throat chakra, and some ways that we can go about practicing healing that on a daily basis, because it's really just energy work and learning to move energy and focus your energy. And I actually have a really cool story about how I knew that this was all working physically when I was traveling with an airport scanner. So that's kind of a fun story. So grab a coffee or your favorite beverage and let's get started. I'm Heidi Hope and this is Miracle Mornings. I go live. I try to go every Tuesday and Thursday. Sometimes it's just once a week at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And I share what I'm working on as an artist creatively, and also experience as a business owner for 20 years, and occasionally some photography tips. I used to be a professional photographer, and owned a studio up in Rhode Island before moving down to Florida 3 years ago now. And then also just what I'm doing, you can get my paintings right now, prints and paintings online, originals and prints are on HeidiHopeArt.com. And all of my courses and coaching from 20 years of being a creative entrepreneur are over on HeidiHopeLearning.com. So check out that stuff there. Okay. Today, I am doing an easy fall craft. I had a bunch of these plastic white pumpkins, or foam. I guess they're foam. And the small ones, I just didn't have a use for a handful of them this year. So I wanted to try a craft, which is using pressed flowers and Mod Podge to decorate the pumpkins and give them a little bit more of like a high-end vibe. My living room is all black and white, mostly like blacks and neutrals, creams, and wood texture and all that. So I thought the black and white florals would be pretty cool on the pumpkin. So I'm just going to open these up. And as I'm doing this, I thought I would also talk to you about clearing the witch's wound. So if you missed the first episode on that, you definitely want to watch that. That was the episode from last Tuesday, which would have been the 23rd, I believe. I may need a pair of scissors to open this. And I talked a little bit about what that is and where it comes from. And essentially it is psychological, similar to like what Eckhart Tolle talks about with the pain body. And it is inherited in most cases, unless you were tried as a witch in this lifetime. But otherwise it's inherited, and it's something you can practice energy healing on yourself with. You don't need to go to an energy healer. It's something we all are made out of energy, and we can all work with energy because it's just a matter of where we focus our attention. Wherever you focus your attention, your energy goes. So if you do practices that I'm going to suggest today, and you're really focusing on the energy of clearing or healing the throat, then you're doing it for yourself. That's all you need to do. So, all right, to start the craft, we've got our pumpkin and we just have Mod Podge. This is actually matte Mod Podge, which is fine. Gloss would look good too, but I guess the pumpkin's already matte and I don't need to paint it or anything because it's already white. And then I'm just going to be applying these little pressed flowers that I got on Amazon. And they come in all sorts of different color schemes. So I went with the black and white ones because they are a little stuck together here. They're very delicate. Because it matches my decor for the room that I'm going to be putting these in. They do come with tweezers, but I like to just use my hands. So all you have to do to apply these to the pumpkin is paint one coat of the Mod Podge wherever you want to place the leaf. Well, these are green on one side. I don't want to use the green side though. I'm going to use the white side. Then you're going to press that in, and then you're going to paint another coat of the Mod Podge over it. And you really want to saturate that and get it pressed. You can use your brush to kind of press it into the surface of the pumpkin so that it really sticks well. It's hard with the bumps of the pumpkins, but the Mod Podge will help flatten it down. So I'm going to do a couple of leaves. So again, we got to paint a coat down first because it works like glue. And then paint more over the top. There's a little flower there. Let's see. Do a little black flower. So you can see some contrast. And when the Mod Podge dries, it all dries clear. And this one is matte. I'm going to break that. I'm just going to keep working my way around the pumpkin and adding more flowers. I like this fern a lot. One little piece broke off. Try to get it into place with the brush. There we go. So that's basically it. You just work your whole way around the pumpkin and then let it dry. And I'll show you when these are finished. I'll make a little reel so you can see the process and then when it's all dried. But they're gonna look really cute, I think. And then I'm gonna keep going with the flowers down the sides of the pumpkin. But you can see it already looks pretty cool. So that's it. Super easy. You can get all this stuff on Amazon. You just need Mod Podge, paintbrush, the dried flowers, and the pumpkins. And if you have old pumpkins or pumpkins that you don't like the color of, you could just paint them by any craft paint and just paint them the color that you want them. Like if you wanted them to match your decor, soft greens are nice, or like more neutral oranges, or any neutrals for neutral interior. And then you can add pops of color with the flower, or you can keep the flowers really neutral too, because they sell all sorts of creams and golds and things like that too. And that's it. So if you try that, let me know. Okay, so into the sticky brush. I don't think I have a cup of water around. Put it down here. We can fix the camera now too. There we go. So healing the witch's wound was a topic that we started last Tuesday. So basically, if you haven't watched that episode, go back and watch it. But really, it's about healing the throat chakra. So any work to heal that, what is the throat chakra influence within the body? I wanted to say control. That's not really the right word. What does it influence within the body? It is the core of our self-expression, authentic self-expression. And the reason why this wound has been kind of globally, on a global scale, brought up to the surface for healing at this time is because we've been seeing a lot of stuff on the news, in particular, where people are being persecuted or murdered for their beliefs. And that is the core of the witch's wound, is that there were times in history for the past thousands of years it's been going on. So it certainly affected our ancestors and all the way down the line to us, where we're in the position that it's being brought to the surface so that we can clear it. But it's really that persecution for the expression of your beliefs or your authentic self-expression. And a lot of artists come into the world to clear this wound. A lot of healers, people are drawn to the healing arts. So especially nurses and doctors, but then alternative healers, energy healers, chiropractors, functional medicine, like anything in those fields. Singers, certainly, and then artists of all kinds. Anybody whose job is a form of self-expression has usually been pulled towards that career because that self-expression is part of clearing the wound. So expressing yourself authentically is one way. If you have fears around speaking or public speaking, getting into the habit of speaking up more, speaking up, that could be just in your personal relationships with like boundary setting. If you kind of are somebody who gets walked all over, or your boundaries are easily violated, or nobody pays attention to your boundaries, or you're too much of a people pleaser or giver, that's a lot of ways that the wound can appear in unhealthy ways. And so just standing up for yourself and vocalizing, being a self-advocate, those are all ways that you can help clear it. But there are other things like yoga practices that really focus on the opening of the neck. So anything with neck flexibility, even heart and neck openers. So like any type of back bending is really great for it. Things like plow pose or shoulder stands that are also working with the neck area or focused on the neck area. Any yoga poses like that, or just gently stretching your neck in the morning. There's also a stretch that activates your vasovagal response, which will get you out of fight or flight, and it will get you into a more relaxed state. So it activates your parasympathetic nervous system. And that is by tilting your head and stretching your neck and then looking your eyeballs up that way. So just taking a couple breaths in that stretch is a great way to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. And you can do it on the other side too. So it's just stretching the side of your neck and then looking your eyeballs up. And that will help activate your parasympathetic nervous system. But any neck stretches when you're just doing your breathing and stretching in the morning is helpful with that. And then when you're meditating, really focusing on the throat chakra area. The throat chakra is associated energetically with the color like turquoise or light blue or like crystal kind of blues. So any crystals in those colors, wearing clothing of that color, surrounding yourself in that color, meditating on that color, imagining that energy center lit up in that color, those things all can help. You can look up healing frequencies specifically for the throat chakra. And I forget what range that falls in, but I'm sure I could do like a quick Google search. But look up solfeggio frequency music or healing frequency music for the throat chakra specifically, and listening to that either in meditation or just as background music while you're working or whatever. There's a lot of evidence coming out right now with sound frequency healing and how powerful that is in your healing repertoire. And you may also notice this, even if you're not an artist or whatever, you may physically notice this coming up in your field if you have a lot of physical manifestations of problems with the throat. So tonsil issues, constant sore throats, people sometimes who get mono because the swollen throat. I had tonsillitis when I was in college. I had to have my tonsils out. Thyroid issues like hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's, autoimmune things related to the throat, or injuries to the neck or throat area that you've had over your life. If you seem to see a pattern there, that could be an area that's really calling for your attention to spend some time and do some healing work. I wanted to tell you the fun story about when I first started the process of focusing on healing the throat chakra area specifically. I had been doing Joe Dispenza's meditations for a while, and he really does kind of a Kundalini breath where you're moving the breath from the base of the spine up the whole spine to the top of the head. And I always felt it getting caught in that area. And so that's when I started to research and try to unblock it. And I heard people who had been to his conferences before that when they were focused on like their heart center or different areas of the body, wherever you focus your attention, your energy within the body goes to that area. So, and it kind of like, I guess it can be seen on the scanners at the airport. And they were talking about how the heart was lit up and they were getting wanded going through security because they thought they had some kind of like a metal pendant or something on. So I thought it would be fun to try that out with the throat one morning when I was doing my meditation before I was about to take a flight for a job back in Boston. And so I was here and I was doing my morning meditation, and I was really focusing on healing the throat chakra. And sure enough, when I went through security at the airport, they stopped me and they wanded my throat and they were like, "Do you have a necklace on or something?" So they were seeing something there too, because it will light up on the actual, on the whatever that thing is, like the metal detector or whatever they scan you with. So I thought that was kind of fun and cool because it was a way that I tested. It was sort of a story. I was listening to somebody else did it, and I was like, I wonder if I can do that, like activate my throat chakra enough that it lights up when I'm going through airport security. And it did. So I thought that was really cool. I love telling that story. So anyways, any of those things, there are also foods associated. Actually, I have a whole book, this book, Chakra Healing. This is kind of a beginner's guide. Honestly, you can like look on YouTube. One time I was working with my root chakra and I just went on YouTube and I searched root chakra healing meditation and a bunch of stuff came up, and I did one of the meditations free on YouTube, and it was unbelievable. Like I had so much clarity. My brain fog totally went away afterwards. So there's so many free resources out there too. It's really just believing in it and setting aside the time to do it and giving your full focus and attention to the process. But really you can do anything or heal anything when you practice it often enough. But this book has it gives you different meditations you can practice for each chakra and different essential oils and yoga. Other tips they give for the throat is say what you mean and mean what you say. Practice chanting, singing, reading aloud, or humming. Yeah. People who are frequent public speakers or who sing a lot are naturally always clearing the throat chakra. And that's why chanting different mantras can also help to clear, because that humming vibration really helps it too. Wearing the color light blue, drinking teas that soothe the throat, such as peppermint, slippery elm, and spearmint. And I thought they also had food related to it in here too, although that might be in a different chapter. Hold on. They talk about creating a healing space, maintaining it daily, adding this into your daily practice. And it doesn't have to be long. These can be 1 minute, 2 minute little exercises that you just add into your morning prayer or meditation. So food and diet. Oh, they don't really give any foods related to it, but I'm sure that's something that you can just Google. Yeah, no, they don't give any, but I'm sure there are some associated with, like, I know root vegetables are associated with the root chakra, or things that are like reds and oranges. So usually things that are in the color family. So it would be like blue, probably foods in the blue family, which aren't that many, but those could be healing for it. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please give it a like, a little thumbs up, share it with any friends that you think might be interested in this topic. Leave me comments in the comment section, please. They're so helpful with the algorithm. And yeah, I hope if you try the craft, let me know. Tell me how it goes. And I'll be sharing my finished pumpkins with you as soon as they're done. One update on the ornaments. If you're waiting on the ornament release, I just haven't finished the final style, and I want to release all of the styles together. So I'm just waiting on that. That should be by the end of this week, and I just got to get them photographed and up online. Last week I got kind of derailed because I had to commission for a church painting that I had to get finished, but that is done. So now I'm back to finishing up these ornaments and getting them listed, so that you can have them for your 2025 holiday season. So thanks for being here today, and see you Thursday. Bye.